Oliver, will you be getting into algorithmic trading? Well, the answer is yes and no. I've been in algorithmic trading for, I'd say, since 2002 or so, 2002, 2003. I designed 14 individual algorithmic trading programs that literally traded, one traded 24 hours in the Forex market, but that literally traded without any human intervention. And these were 14 different trading approaches that really required a tremendous amount of manpower, a tremendous amount of constant tweaking and programming. And so I've sort of phased out of the algorithmic trading arena. And some many people think that there's some superior notion to algorithmic trading, but I do want you to understand that every every type of trading style, and algorithmic trading is really nothing more than a different style of market play, has its pluses and minuses. And so there's nothing overly magical about algorithmic trading other than the algorithm cannot operate outside of its protocol. So it can't operate outside of the rules that you program in it. Now, the algorithm is only as good as the programmer of the algorithm. So if the if the trader building the algorithm is really a horrible trader, the algorithm's going to be a horrible trader as well. And so the algorithm is only an extension of the expert behind, or the so-called expert behind the algorithm. And the very notion that an algorithm, the very idea that an algorithm cannot change is actually its strength and its Achilles heel at the same time, traders. So there is, what the human trader can do is reason between the lines, and that's what an algorithm can't do. So a a masterful trader is superior to an algorithm because it can ascertain when there is an exception to be made. So let me give you a very basic example of this. All right. I used to be a latch kid, what was called a latchkey kid back in the days, where I actually had to go home alone, walk several blocks, go home alone until my mother picked me up from the house, or on her break from her job or what have you, right? And so she would always drill me and say, Oliver, listen, don't cross the street in between. You go all the way to the corner, you wait for the light to turn green, and then you cross. I do not want you crossing in between blocks, in between cars. All right. And that's a very good rule. Don't cross in between, cross at the green, not in between. All right. There was one day I was actually coming from school and I saw a woman who had a baby in a carriage next to her car, and she had obviously gone shopping and she was taking the groceries out of the trunk. The baby was in a carriage on the sidewalk, but had started to roll down. There was a little hill, and I saw the carriage slowly rolling down the driveway, but she was in the trunk and didn't realize. I quickly dashed, not at the corner, in between. I was in between the blocks. I looked both ways, no traffic. I ran across the street and caught the carriage before it actually went into the street. She was so thankful. In fact, the woman took me home and actually wanted to thank my mom personally. Now, that was me reasoning. My mother told me, don't ever cross in between. But I made a decision. I reasoned between the lines, and I realized that in this case, this is an exception. That if I go all the way to the corner, wait for the green, cross the street, and then run back down the block, it's going to be too late. That's what an algorithm can't do. And that's what makes a human trader more superior than an algorithm. Now, an algorithm will be more superior when it comes to basically just consistently applying the trading plan or the rule. And so there's a back and forth. All right. And I actually believe that if I were to give the edge to a masterful trader versus an algorithm, I'd go with the master trader virtually every single time. All right. Now, there is a style of market play that an algorithm can do that humans can't do, and that is basically to do a micro speed trading, like tens of thousands of trades every few seconds. That is a different style of market play, and that obviously is not something that a human can do. But that's not the type of algorithmic trading that I was speaking of. All right. All right. Arhan is saying, Oliver, I heard that story before. Yes, yes, repetition has a value, but yes, I share some of these stories with my traders.